Welcome to the Watch List podcast, where we're going to watch and talk about a bunch of movies and hopefully make our watch list a little bit shorter. Today, we are talking about 2010's True Grit. Welcome back to the Watchlist Podcast, episode number 5. I mentioned just now that we're going to watch, we're talking about True Grit from 2010. Yeah, my voice is doing pretty rough right now, but we'll see how this goes. I am joined today by one person, and that would be Chase.
Hey, yeah, it's literally just me and you today. It's gonna be a fun time.
Yeah, boy. Unfortunately, everyone else is just busy and unable to record with us this week. But that's okay. There's plenty of us here, so it's not really much of a problem, is it?
No. I mean, like it's always supposed to be just a conversation between you and I, or I guess between everybody else as well. But today, just you and I.
Yep. Yeah, Asher just couldn't make the timing. It was just way out of there, even though he watched the movie. And he likes it, so from what I saw in his Letterboxd review, he enjoys it. And I didn't see Israel's or Sean's or Johnny's review, so I'm not aware. But yeah.
I haven't posted mine yet, but I probably will after the time of this recording, or honestly, whenever. But I mean, my review's about to be made clear today, so.
Oh yeah, it'll be pretty clear after this. Yeah, so before we get into the episode, I would like to remind everybody that this is not a spoiler-free show. We're going to talk about this movie with no restrictions, so if you don't want anything spoiled for you, I would recommend watching the movie first and then coming back. But if you're okay with spoilers, then just keep listening, because we're going to keep talking. I'm going to go over some details of this movie. So we watched True Grit from 2010. It is 110 minutes, rated PG-13. It was directed by the Coen Brothers, which is, like, it's noticeable. It's drama, Western, obviously, adventure, streaming on Paramount Plus, and as of recording this, which is the 14th of January, it was on sale for $5. So when this comes out, I don't know if it still will be, but it is right now, so look into that. And also on IMDb, it has a 7.6 out of 10, and on Letterboxd, it has a 3.8 out of 5 scoring. So this film is pretty well liked, I would say. Not like the highest rated film, like Yi, for example, last week's was definitely rated higher, but yeah.
I personally think that's because of the genre. I think westerns in general is just a niche, like, genre. And a lot of times, if you don't like westerns, nothing really is going to change your mind. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's fair. I couldn't stand them not too long ago, and then it wasn't until recently where I was like, oh, I think I actually kind of like this. It isn't like my default, genre, but I do like it quite a bit.
Right. Yeah. I love westerns. I've loved spaghetti westerns. I've loved the movies who act like they're a western, but in reality they're more sci-fi, kind of hinting at John Carter, honestly.
Right. Well, the first
Or
film
there's
we saw on the show, The Ministry of Ungentlemanly Warfare, had a lot of Western styles of music and occasional framing in it, too. I don't know if you ever got
yeah,
around to watching that one.
I did. I love that movie too, by the
It's so
way.
good. Really quickly, I'm going to go over some of the cast and crew just so people are familiar. I think it was recommended to me by my sister that we do this, and it's not a bad idea. So this film stars Jeff Bridges, Haley Steinfeld, Matt Damon as our primary crew. Our villain is played by Josh Brolin. He's not in the film as long as you think he is, but he's there. It was weird seeing Thanos, bro. Um,
or Cable, or I mean, wherever else Josh Brolin from.
yeah,
Men in Black
exactly.
3.
He's in Men in Black 3?
Yeah, he's a young K in Men in Black 3.
Oh, he is. Dang. That's crazy.
Yeah,
Um, there's a bunch of other stars in this film, obviously. Something I noticed though early on is so there's a lawyer gets mentioned a lot in the movie, and I heard the voice and I was like, "Who is that?" And the Prime Video like X-ray thing was like, "That's J.K. Simmons." I was like, like all he does is say a few lines at the beginning of the film. You got J.
you know,
freaking Simmons.
never realized that. Actually, that's actually crazy.
As soon as I heard it, I was like, "There's no way that's Simmons." And lo and behold, right here, J.K. Simmons voice. He's actually uncredited in the film,
Really,
as
wow.
are what looks to be like half the cast is kind of uncredited in this movie.
A lot of this cast was like really big names in the industry too, at least at that time.
Oh yeah, even now I would still say that's like there's still a reason to watch the movie.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
the film was produced by the Coen Brothers and Scott Rudin. They're listed as the primary producers with a whole list of executive producers. Music was Carter Burwell. Roger Deakins was the cinematographer, and the Coen Brothers edited it themselves. Edited it themselves. Um, I was looking. I sent a link in our group chat. This website that lets you look at camera details and editing details for films. It was edited on their personal computer on Final Cut Pro, which is cool.
Hmm. Yeah, that's 2010 for you.
I still love Final Cut Pro. It is my preferred. I teach Premiere, but I use Final Cut.
Hey, I mean, I said uh, last episode or a couple episodes ago, I'm not like a film degree person. So whatever's the best that makes it look the best, go for it. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
Or whatever's preferred. Hey, you know more than I do, so.
Um, there's a variety of editing softwares, and everyone prefers it for their own specific reasons. There's definitely some industry standards. Final Cut used to be the standard. I think it was around Final Cut 7. But once Final Cut 10 came out, they redesigned the whole thing. They introduced a magnetic timeline, which was a big reason why people don't like it, and a bunch of other stuff. It kind of went downhill in terms of preference. But uh,
I always thought it was just whatever you're best with. You know what I mean?
yeah, you do need to know certain programs because if you want to work with a specific production company, they might require that you know Premiere or now DaVinci Resolve is kind of getting up there, especially for color grading. So there's some other ones,
Hmm.
and they're not popping up in my head at the moment.
Obed, dropping knowledge facts.
Nah, I just know what I know. Uh, yeah. So those are the movie details. What do you think of the movie, Chase? This is not the first. No, this is the first time you've seen it, right?
So this is the first time I've seen this version. I actually saw the original and I did read the book.
Oh, okay. I did
Yeah,
see that they
so
wrote a book.
yeah, and I will say that uh, as far as like comparing the original versus this one, it's the same story. Overall, it's the same story. It's just from a different perspective. Um, it's been a long time since I saw the original, but if I remember correctly, the original followed more of Cogburn. It was from his perspective.
Oh, okay.
But this one was all Haley Steinfeld's character's perspective, and like everything was from her point of view, which
Right.
wasn't a bad change, honestly. I thought it was cool.
Okay.
Um, I would say this film, it felt more fun, which it's a western. It's literally called True Grit. It's supposed to be gritty and dangerous at times, and yeah. But I think the casting choices were really well done to make it feel um, fun in those in between moments.
Hmm.
You know. So
Yeah,
overall, I think the ratings are pretty accurate, like a 7.5 or a 3 star. I think those are pretty accurate. I'd probably give it about an 8.
8 out of 10.
But yeah, but I love westerns, so like I'll always rate a even if it's terrible, I'll always give it a higher rating.
You
I
just
love
like the
westerns.
westerns.
I do.
Um, Dang, I was gonna say something. I can't remember what right now. Oh, I agree. It was very funny. I did laugh quite a bit. It was also, it would go from funny or not too serious to suddenly like very serious really quickly.
Hmm.
Like, when was it? When they run into that house and there's the two guys in there and they're lying to Cogburn. Was that his name?
Yeah. I think his nickname is Rooster,
Yeah, yeah,
but his real name's Reuben Cogburn. But
yeah.
for the remainder of the show, we'll just call him Rooster.
Rooster and Haley Steinfeld's character is Maddie.
Hmm.
So those two guys are lying to Rooster and Matty, and then suddenly one guy just gets stabbed in the heart and the other guy gets shot in the face. I'm like, oh, that felt like a much bigger turn than anything earlier in the film.
I know exactly what scene you're referring to, and yeah, that just felt so sudden.
Because, oh, okay, what got me is that the guy's fingers got chopped off. And
Yeah.
I kind of expected maybe the knife is going to go through the palm of the hand, but no, the guy literally puts, like, slices the blade on all four of his main fingers, and you just see them sitting there. And then Rooster just shoots the guy in the face out of instinct, and he flies back, and he's just like, he has no face now, basically.
Yeah, yeah,
I was like, oh, dang.
and
Hmm.
yeah, Rooster's uh, comment to the guy with just a knife in his chest. Guy's like, "Help me!" He's like, "I can't. Your partner stabbed you. You're dead. But tell me what you know." It's like this is kind of like cold. Like,
And then when Maddie's like, weren't you going to bury him? He's like, it's too cold. Can't do that. He should have picked a, he should have died in the summer.
yeah, yeah. It it really they did a really good job. Number one, in the beginning of the film, I think it's like the first 30 minutes, we just get so much like character of
Mm-hmm.
who Maddie is, of who Brewster is, even a little bit of LaBeef
Le
and
beef.
LaBeef, and we just get so much character of like even in that little trial that Rooster was in, you just get to see who he is as a person.
Mm-hmm.
He's cold, like yes, he's a drunk, but like he's like the land, rugged, and I feel like that was what was needed for this film.
Oh yeah, 100%. I mean, it's very Coen Brothers. Have you seen any of their other films?
I've seen the Ballad of Buster Scruggs. I think they did that one. That's also another western, by the way.
They did do that.
Uh,
Um,
they did one with Tom Hanks, right?
I don't know. The other films that came to the top of my head, I'm looking at their catalog right now, but what came to the top of my head was No Country for Old Men, Oh Brother Where Art
Oh
Thou,
yeah,
The Big Lebowski, and Fargo.
No Country for Old Men. Yeah, that movie was rough too. But like, I don't know much about the Coen Brothers, but do they just have like a style of pacing? Because a lot of times, like they do, like those movies are pretty slow at pacing.
They can be, but they keep you hooked. Like
Okay, okay, that's a good way to do it.
like last week we talked about Yi, you know, that's the movie we watched, and we were talking about how it's a slow movie, like it's almost 3 hours long, but you didn't really feel it. And I would say that with the Coen Brothers, it can be pretty similar. Um,
Okay.
like they make fairly long movies from what I can see here. Um,
I
but they're
mean,
also like
westerns in general. Go ahead.
no, I was just gonna say like their style is also, this has nothing to do with timing, but it's like the most horrific things happening to someone, like their fingers getting chopped off, or a murderer going around killing people by like literally blowing compressed air into their skulls, or this guy
Yeah,
that
so there.
decide that pays for his wife to get kidnapped, and then everyone dies, but in the middle of it, it's hilarious. It's just this
So
really
there,
dark humor.
they show like these gruesome scenes, but they make light out of it in the middle of it, basically.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Interesting.
I will say, No Country for Old Men. I watched it and I was like, okay, this is really cool, but the ending, I don't like it. It's not my favorite thing.
That's fair. Um,
I think I thought the same thing with Fargo.
I have a lot of issues with No Country for Old Men. Uh, that's neither here nor there, but like, yeah, there are some pretty clear issues that is with that movie. It's
Yeah,
not bad. It's a solid film. So
they're great directors. It's interesting. Sometimes I'm like, yeah, they're amazing, and other times I'm like, meh. But they do have a style, and they keep to that, and they make solid films regardless. I mean, if you look at their catalog here, the lowest rated film is 4.6, 4.3, and they're short films.
out of 10.
Everything, yeah. Everything
Okay.
else, the lowest I see here is there's one 5.4, very few sixes, mostly sevens and eights.
Hmm.
So,
Overall, not bad.
oh, there's another five. It's like they make movies that people generally enjoy. They're not like considered amazing by on average, because this is an average, obviously. But
They're
they
for
make
your
good
average
movies.
movie watcher.
Yeah, but they're just really good movies that people enjoy, and they're their own style, and you can tell it's a Coen Brothers movie.
Gotcha.
I like it. I really like when
Yeah.
you can tell that a director or a group of directors made a film.
You mean like Michael Bay? You can always tell it's a Michael Bay film.
You can tell Michael Bay, Christopher Nolan, Steven Spielberg. I'm trying to think of other people. Um,
Honestly, the Russo brothers.
Meh. I thought about them
They,
immediately, but I don't know. Here's my thing. For me, they make very plain stuff.
I think they have a very signature kind of shot that they like to shoot for. And a lot of times when I watch their movies, they do like a whole, almost like a 360 shot around our characters. You know,
I did not notice that.
I've noticed it a couple times.
I did enjoy their stuff in Community. I think that and Captain America Winter Soldier was their peak for me.
I forgot they did some stuff in Community.
That's like where they kind of started. Well, it's not exactly where they started, but it was, that's roughly what, from what I remember, that's where they were just before they got to the MCU.
I completely forgot about that though.
Yeah, they did most of the paintball episodes, or a couple of them.
That makes sense, actually.
Yeah, they're good at action and stuff. I think once, okay, they're good at shooting. I think when they got into the Marvel Cinematic Universe, it became a little bit more plain over time.
Like we've seen it a bunch of times. Stop.
Yeah, And then also like they tried doing some other movies afterwards, like the one with Tom Holland and Daisy Ridley. What's that one called?
Tom
Uh,
Hall, Daisy Ridley. I don't know. I don't really care for Holland. Hot take, but
it's not a hot take here. I don't like it either.
eh. Give me
Oh,
Garfield back, honestly.
yeah. They made Extraction. I enjoyed Extraction.
That was the Hemsworth, right?
Maybe they didn't make that movie I'm thinking of. Uh,
Extraction was Hemsworth, right? That was a Netflix thing?
yes. Was it Netflix?
Oh, I think so. That's what I remember Extraction being on.
Because I remember watching it. I don't think I had Netflix at the time. I don't usually have Netflix.
Eh,
Oh, it is Netflix, huh?
Netflix is expensive.
Maybe
Netflix
I
is
had it at the
pretty
time.
expensive.
And Netflix is just, ugh, it's too much money for not enough things I want to watch.
I hope they get better.
We'll see what happens. The whole industry is going back to cable, basically.
Yeah, it's weird. We got for like a couple years after honestly the quarantine, we moved away from cable. I would even say a little bit before that, we started moving away from cable, and now we're slowly coming back to trying to have cable. I know Netflix and things like Peacock are starting to try to live stream. Even Netflix, yeah, it's wild that Netflix is doing this too, but they're trying to live stream big sporting events. I know Netflix this year is actually doing the Super Bowl.
They are?
Yeah,
Oh, dang.
they did the Mike Tyson versus Jake Paul fight that they had streaming.
I honestly didn't even know that was happening.
Yeah, it's wild to me that Netflix is trying to go that route, but I
So,
mean, we'll see if it works.
I mean, so pretty much every streaming service now has live TV in some capacity.
Yeah,
There might be a
I mean,
couple that
Hulu.
don't. Like Disney started doing their ABC, I think it's their ABC news stations, and some other ones are live on Disney Plus. They also started doing like live channels of certain shows or kinds of shows, I think. Kind of like a Disney Junior, but on Disney Plus.
Mm,
Um, Hulu's been doing it for a while. Peacock's, I think, basically been doing it since day one or almost day one. Paramount Plus has been doing it since day one. Because most
where
of
you
these
can find
networks.
True Grit 2010, by the way. Try to bring that back.
Oh, yeah, there you go. Hey, it's okay if we don't. We can talk about whatever. Um,
Just saying.
Basically, what I'm getting at is that streaming is very successful if only one person does it. And it turns out that people aren't as interested in paying multiple subscriptions for multiple services um, to watch a couple things on each, you know?
Crazy, right?
And there is a novelty to live TV, like having to sit down at your TV at a certain time each day in order to watch something. Or at the very least, what streaming shows are doing again is releasing one episode a week. Like there's something that makes it more valuable almost.
Yeah, and unfortunately, the way that we're going now, not that I'm condoning it for anybody out there, is we are moving into an era of where everybody's just pirating stuff because it's free. They would, like you said, like pay a lot of money on a bunch of different streaming services just to have a few things. A lot of people are moving away from that, and we're unfortunately seeing a lot more pirating, and that's just how things are going.
Yeah, it's on the rise again. It went
Yeah,
down for a bit at the beginning of streaming, I believe. I was actually looking at some of those stats the other day, but I can't remember them exactly off the top of my head. But yeah, it did go down for quite a while, and then it's just skyrocketing again. I mean,
yeah,
on YouTube, for a while, you'd get ads for apps that were like hidden as files apps. like file management apps, and when you got it, it was just a catalog of every single movie and TV show in existence.
But it's just how things are going. Is into people go online and they type in where to watch the Avengers online for free, and then 9 times out of 10 you'll find it. You know,
Mm-hmm.
it's just how things are going. Support your local, or not local, but support your movie makers.
Yeah, like okay, so I buy every single movie I watch, right? Or I find it on a streaming service, or I rent it, or I see it in the theaters because I want to. I honestly want to come back to it, and pirating movies, despite how easily accessible it is, they also get taken down. Like websites and apps get taken down so quick. It's kind of annoying, to be honest, it to even try
Yeah,
to keep up with it.
yeah, it's and
But it gets
uh,
expensive to keep buying movies.
yeah, yeah, like it pirating. I don't know. Pirating's weird. Just because, like, I hear people saying, "Oh, it's not illegal as long as I don't download. I'm only streaming it." And it's like, yeah, but you're really hurting. Like, let's say, for example, let's go to music real quick. You find a song
Napster.
that, what's up?
Napster back in the day.
I don't, I'm not very familiar with Napster,
Napster
but
was a Napster was a service to download every single piece of music in existence for free. Um,
oh yeah, see, and like that hurts your small time artist because it's like that dollar or $2 or whatever back in the day that it was gonna cost you to download that song to your phone, that goes to them and it helps them grow. But like, the pirating can hurt people.
oh, it definitely does, and let's not forget, it is most definitely illegal. Um,
Yes, that's the good. Let's touch on that. Yeah,
it is illegal. So you want to watch something, yeah, you're gonna have to find it on a streaming service. You're gonna have to buy it. Um, you should,
but
but
also like a lot of times, if you want to watch or even rent something, go to YouTube. YouTube's only like $2 to rent a movie, and you get it for what, 2 days? That's not bad.
something like that. Yeah, I rented Yee Yee when we watched it, and I had a month to start it, and once I started it, I had 3 days to finish it, and I
Yeah,
finished it
like
in 3 hours, but still.
that's really not that bad. Like you pay the $3 and you just give up something small. Like uh, we've talked about this too, like a while back. Like we want to get something, we just give up going to Wendy's for a day. There's our $3, or in your case, a $5 biggie bag.
Mm-hmm. Hey, I like the biggie bag.
They've gotten weird, but I don't know. I don't care for Wendy's, but that's neither here nor there.
Let's talk about Wendy's now, JK. Um, so like if so, you're at home, you rent a movie for 3-4 bucks, and then you have a bunch of people over and you're all watching it together. I mean, if you have 20 people over and you split 4 bucks, you're literally paying cents. Um,
Honestly, yeah, and like even a lot of movies now, like um, what's new that just came out in theaters? Uh, I guess Sonic. I can say Sonic 3 because that's still technically in theaters.
no, it definitely is.
Um, like movies that come out, if you wait like a week after it's been released, it'll most likely go onto Amazon, and then you can pay whatever Amazon wants you to pay to watch that movie. And you, if you have like a whole watch party, you've already paid for that movie at that point. You're
Mm-hmm.
paying like $15 to everybody sit at home, which is, in my opinion, the best seat in the house because you're at home. And everybody's just watching that movie and having a good time.
Yeah, definitely not a week. I think it's more like 1 to 2 months on average, depending on the film and the distribution company.
It's still like 9 times out of 10 they'll hit streaming services
It's
before they
relatively
actually
quick.
come out
Yeah.
with hard copies.
Oh, 100%. I mean, they do. There's almost no demand for hard copies. Almost no demand for hard copies. Most of my films are digital, but I do prefer the hard copies. But I don't want to spend $30 on every single movie I watch.
If I like a movie a lot, like so much, um, i.e., the Into the Spider Verse movies, like I bought those hard copies just because they're just good, and I'd like to have them versus having to look on 12 streaming service apps to find it.
Yeah, I also own both of those. I also own the Amazing Spider-Man.
Yeah, like if it's a solid movie that I just genuinely enjoyed, I'll probably go out and buy it at Walmart or something.
Mm-hmm. And also, well, Best Buy doesn't sell films anymore. At least last time I checked. But on Black Friday, they would have 4K HDR, Ultra HD, whatever, plus a Blu-ray copy, plus a digital copy for $10. And that's when I bought a large chunk of the set of films I have now. Because when I buy a physical copy, I look for that version specifically because I'm not going to watch it on disc 99.99999% of the time. I don't even know if my DVD player works. Um, but I want the hard disk because it's true that if a service like iTunes, well, iTunes doesn't exist anymore, Apple TV or Prime Video or Movies Anywhere, if they go out, like the movies you own are gone. So owning the hard copies is nice.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
I was actually thinking the other day that where was I? I was at the library of all places, and I was sitting there looking at the books, and I was like, I wish that we still had um, video rental stores.
A Blockbuster, yeah, I miss Blockbuster.
I remember going to Blockbuster as a kid and like picking out a movie and watching it at home, taking it back. Like I loved digging through those aisles and finding the films, and even seeing movies that I like that I already own at home. I'm like, oh look, I have that one. That one's cool. They have it here too.
What was what was also really fun was going to Walmart. You remember those like $3 movie bins that you can just dig in there and find a random movie?
Yes, they still have them occasionally. I'll just like drop my hand in there and see what I can pull out.
And it's like if you hate it, it was $3. You can't really be mad, you know.
Yeah. Also,
But those,
Voodoo. I think it's called Fandango at home now, but I'm gonna refer to it as Voodoo. Voodoo. Um, it has a physical to digital conversion system. So if you own a physical disc, not every single movie, but many movies, like most of them, you can actually convert them for $3 to $5.
probably like the newer ones, right? As long as it was like 2010s era and above, maybe.
No, they have quite a few. I've converted a few of the films that I've had. It's actually cheaper um, to get purchase a digital copy of a Blu-ray disc that you have rather than a DVD copy.
Hmm.
So, like I bought The Godfather. I bought it just in Blu-ray because the 4K actually it didn't exist at the time, and then I bought it in Blu-ray that same day. Was paid $3, converted it to digital, so I could watch it on my Apple TV. And then a couple months later, they released the 4K version, and then on Vudu they just upgraded me to 4K. So I was actually watching it the other day, um, looking at the new 4K scaling upscale.
Hmm. Actually, really cool. I might have to give that a try.
It's one of the reasons when I buy a physical copy, I also want a digital one because um, Apple TV and Vudu, they will upgrade your quality for free. So if for some reason they start selling 8K movies, and if one of the movies or any of the movies I own get upgraded to 8K, I get that version for free, which is cool.
Oh, That is cool.
So I can have a hard copy. It's like a treasure that I get to keep, like a physical thing, and then I get this ever growing modifying version um, that is also available everywhere to me.
Technology is so cool.
It is. You need a little bit of everything. You need the old analog stuff. not the DVDs are analog, but
No, but honestly, I still have some VHS tapes.
oh yeah, I will purposefully look for VHS tapes like at thrift stores and stuff. I own a two two case set of the Sound of Music. I also have the original Jurassic Park and the first Mission Impossible movie.
Huh. See, I need to
Hmm.
get myself a VHS player, but everything I try to find, they're either overcharging me for a VHS player because let's be honest, it shouldn't be that expensive anymore, or they're broken.
Have you ever seen how a VHS player works?
No.
So I I don't know it enough to explain it, but there is a video. I will look for it. I'll send it to you. I don't know if I can find it right now, but it'll be linked in the description of this episode. But it's just this breakdown of how a VHS tape and player works, and it is a beautiful feat of engineering.
Isn't it similar to like how a film roll works, or no?
Yeah, because that's what it is. It is film. It's well, it's not film. It's magnetic tape, basically.
Yeah, yeah, magnet.
But it is really cool. This guy, I just sent it to you. This YouTube channel, Jared Owen, he does like these 3D models, and he does these videos. I think he does a series of them. Let me see. Yeah, he'll break down a bunch of stuff. He has NASA, what's inside the Gateway Arch, the sphere, how a donut machine works from Krispy Kreme. Like, it's really, really cool stuff. And I recommend people check it out.
Hmm.
So basically, the VHS tape goes in, and the little flap opens, the magnetic tape gets pulled out and put into position, and again, then it gets run through the system where it'll be read by the reader, read by the reader, but it'll be read, and then all the data will be converted into the video and audio data that it is associated with.
That's really
It's like a 20-minute video.
cool.
It's fascinating.
I'll give it a watch after this. Yeah, that sounds pretty cool. I
Oh yeah,
love how it's made videos, honestly.
same, bro. I I sat there. I ran into it. I just sat there and watched the whole thing. I was fascinated. It is really cool.
Wow.
Yeah.
I did have a question regarding True Grit. Who is your favorite character?
That is a great question. Um,
Like J.K. Simmons, just because he only says like one line.
Santa Claus. Um,
Santa Claus. Gotta watch that movie, by the way.
Red One.
Yeah.
It's pretty good. Not the greatest thing in the world, but I do enjoy it, and I like their take on Santa. That's just me personally. I heard most people don't. Um, your question was who was my favorite character from True Grit?
Yeah. Yeah.
My favorite character, I think it really is split between Rooster and Maddie.
See, mine's just straight Maddie. I can see why you would like Rooster, but I just love how intellectual she is.
Okay, I like Rooster because of the ending. Like,
Okay, I can see that. Yeah, like how his character wants to save her.
yes, the save the cat moment, if you will. Um,
Yeah.
reference to the book, which I've never read, but I know to some capacity. Um, I like him because of the ending. Like he ends up saving the girl and helping her regardless. But yes, Maddie is the better character on the show, on the
I
film.
I like I like that her character kind of didn't really it hinted at some things changing in her character, but overall it didn't really, because it was, I would say it was revenge driven. She wants to kill the man who killed her father, or at least see him hanged for it. But like throughout the film, she has like little bits of doubts of like, am I really where I'm supposed to be right now? Then throughout the whole end, she's just like, nope, this is it. I'm killing him. Like, he needs to die.
I mean, when you get that chance, are you going to take it or not? And she took it.
Yeah, and honestly, they did a really good job too. Because like what I kind of got from it. So yes, the theme is revenge, overall, but like I saw that moment of her pulling the trigger and then the whole rattlesnake bit. I saw them as hinting that revenge is poisonous. Like that's what I took from that.
Oh.
You see where I'm going with it? Like,
Yeah, I just took it as they brought the snakes back.
yeah, I just, I don't know. I saw that as a, yeah, you can get revenge, but the consequences of it is way more than you think.
Yeah, that's fair. I mean, she. So they, in the beginning of the film, you see how she's very confident. She knows what she's doing, and she's dealing with a lot of other people that know what they're doing, uh, but also don't respect her, and yada, yada, yada. Um, and J.K. Simmons' character, the lawyer, does give a warning early on. He's like, I fear that your ambition or something like that is going to get the better of you one day.
Hmm.
And I mean, it does happen. She's very confident and she fights for what she wants. And that's probably my favorite part about her character. Like, she just gets stuff done and it's so much fun to watch. But yeah, when she first shoots Josh Brolin's character, she falls into the water. She doesn't even know how to cock the pistol or aim properly, you know? So it's like she's going to
Yeah.
put herself in that situation because she wants to do something, but she really needs more experience before she should be doing this. And the same thing happens when she fires a shotgun. Because she was just went for it, you know, she ended up falling back and falling into the ditch. And yeah, she killed the guy that killed her father, but the consequence, like you said, was like she was in the hole and she got bitten by that snake. She lost her left arm.
Yeah, and she literally, there were literal repercussions, like for shooting that shotgun.
It literally cost her an arm and almost a leg.
Oh, yeah, yeah, and like you can kind of see it in the epilogue of the film too, where she is like, uh, I that was the original town, right? That she was at in the beginning of the movie,
Uh,
or was it? She was somewhere. She was like talking to the two gentlemen. I believe she knew them from when she was younger or whatever.
at the
Because she was
morgue?
looking for Rooster.
Oh, yeah, okay. At the end of the film.
Yeah, yeah. She was looking for Rooster to kind of like,
That was just some other town.
was it? Yeah, okay, that makes sense. Because she was at like a traveling group or whatever that she went to, right?
Yeah, he joined like a circus or something.
Yeah, and like you can kind of see her almost regretting. Like she's thankful for Rooster because Rooster in the end never gave up on her.
Mm-hmm.
Um, he literally was the embodiment of grit throughout the
Yeah.
whole film. Um, but you could see that she was like almost regretting stuff that she did in the past.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah. I mean, revenge doesn't usually pay off.
No,
There's consequences to it, and in this case, it was her arm. It was losing her. I guess you could say friend, but really the guy that saved her.
I would say by the end of the film we could call them almost friends because he had that change of heart toward her.
If this
Like
was a Fast and
even
Furious movie, it'd
toward
be family.
yeah, like I refer to him almost as Papa Rooster because even toward like our first, which is I found it interesting how we got like our first uh like character. What's the word I'm looking for? Like they were all grouped up almost halfway throughout the whole movie. You know what I mean? It took half the movie for them all to be together.
Mm-hmm.
But like in that scene, you have LaBeef who is like
Le beef.
tired of her mouth and starts like disciplining her, and you have Rooster kind of like on her side or whatever. And I kind of took that moment of like these two are kind of like father figurely to her.
Yeah,
They're like we're stuck with her, so now there's the papas.
yeah. Except Le beef was a bad papa.
He was a weird papa too because when she was sleeping in the bed, he's like I could have kissed you, and I'm like that's gross. Like this is weird.
I was, yeah. That made me extremely uncomfortable when watching. I was like, no, please, please stop, please stop. And then when he's like, I need to correct you or whatever it was, and he started spanking her. I was like, bro, that's just weird. No.
You don't know this girl. And then Rooster's like, hey, I'll shoot you if you don't stop. And it's like, thank you.
Mm-hmm. Um.
Because, like, it's like,
Yeah.
I would shoot him if he didn't stop. Like,
I think what annoyed. I was very happy that
so weird.
Rooster like pulled out his gun and protected her, but I think he took way too long to do it. I was just sitting there waiting, just like, bro, like, hurry up and stop him. Otherwise, I'm gonna really need to skip this. I don't think I looked most of the time because it was just weird.
Can you hear me?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, cool. Like, something weird just happened, but I guess we're back.
We're back.
So, what were you saying? Sorry.
I was saying that I was disappointed that Jeff Bridges didn't react faster. That Rooster didn't react faster. But it was the moment
Yeah,
where I was like, okay, this guy's gonna protect her, but just better next time.
yeah. I agree with you there. I also do understand, like, those two characters, like her character and his character, haven't been together long enough for him to care. But I mean, at the same time, his driving factor is money. Like,
That's true.
I did find it a little funny though how like in all the seriousness, like the overarching seriousness of the film, throughout most of their walk, he's just telling stories and he's just going on and on and on, and you can see her kind of like, okay, this is weird, stop talking, but it almost got to the point to where me as the viewer was like, okay, this is weird, stop talking, I don't care.
Yeah, I when he got drunk and he was trying to fire, like prove that he can shoot, that he can still aim even with one eye or being drunk. At that point, I was like, okay, this feels almost too funny for a western. But remembering again, going back to it's a Coen Brothers movie, it's what they do. But still, I was wondering, like, is there a line between sort of respecting a western and being irreverent toward one? Um, it was a thought. I think it's fine. It was just almost too much in the moment, at least for me.
I get it. I mean, personally for me, like, if that's the biggest gripe of that film, it's not that bad because, like, a lot of times westerns can be too serious too. Like, I feel like you have to walk that tightrope between not too serious but not too funny for a western,
Oh, for sure.
and it's so hard to do. But
That might have been
I
my
think they
issue.
did.
Sorry, go ahead.
I was just gonna say I think they did a pretty good job.
They did an overall amazing job on this film. I rated it 4 stars out of 5. So I thought the pacing was great, story's great. It's funny, full of action that is well done. So, oh, and the sound design in the movie is amazing. I love it.
Personally, so I like the sound design, but personally, a lot of the music didn't fit, in my opinion.
I
Um,
have no recollection of the music, to be honest.
well, like she's purchasing a horse or whatever, but she's supposed to be going on this like almost like a crusade for the death of her father, but she's purchasing a horse right before it, and it's doing this like almost hallmarky western happy music. It's like
Mm.
we're supposed to be gearing up for this battle, and you're like doing some like medieval times, like da 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 da. You know, it's like happy, and it's like it feels strange.
Yeah, I have no recollection of the music, like not enough. I know that it was Western, like I could feel that it was, excuse me, Western, but I like it just didn't stick with me. So for me, the music, the film almost has no music in my memories of it.
Yeah, I guess that's fair. I mean, we're looking more at the story, right?
In this case, it was the strong suit. Like I love um, a film with good music. I love movie soundtracks in general, and um, I have a playlist called Toes for Quentin Tarantino's,
Gotcha.
where I just put a
That
bunch
makes,
of, huh?
I said that makes sense.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense until you know it's for Quentin. um, yeah, that's my movie soundtrack playlist, and it's one of my favorites. Um, and I love a good movie soundtrack. So, um, yeah.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of times a soundtrack can make the emotion, and this is probably just blanket statement true for it. A good soundtrack makes the emotion of a film that much more personal, if you will.
Oh yeah,
Like,
it definitely
for,
can.
yeah, like you're watching the Avengers and you hear that boom, like that like bump. I'm very bad at remembering sounds, but like you know, like that they do their superhero landing, and you
Yeah,
have this really nice music, and like something inside you is like, yes, you know what I mean?
yeah.
Yeah. So like a good soundtrack can make a movie. It can also ruin a movie too. So
Music's extremely important, or score too is extremely important to films. It, like, I mean, you think of Jurassic Park, it's not the same movie if it doesn't have the bum 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 ba da 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 da, or Star Wars, or I mean, the first Avengers movie, Captain America: Winter Soldier, the first Iron Man movie, all have great soundtracks. Christopher Nolan's films with Interstellar, Tenet, Oppenheimer, they all have unique soundtracks that all like fit with the story. I mean, Interstellar, the main theme for Interstellar was written based on one page of the script by Hans Zimmer, and the the music itself is the feeling um, of a father's love towards his son, which is what Hans Zimmer took from the one page script that he read.
hmm. Fun fact
And
about that movie, by the way, you know the water planet that they're on,
mm-hmm,
uh, and like the whole I guess plot of that little scene is every I forget how long, every so much time is a year that they're missing.
Yeah, I think it's like an hour's 10 years or something like that.
something like that. But the music, if you listen to the music, it runs at a certain beat, which is to implicate a day passing on Earth. Every
Oh,
time you hear that beat, that's one day passing on Earth.
that's interesting. I didn't not. It's been a long time since I've seen the film, so I'm gonna have to go back to it.
Yeah,
Dun
I love that movie.
Dunkirk is another one that Hans Zimmer did together with Christopher Nolan, and there is a ticking of a pocket watch in it that sort of adds to the tension of the whole thing. It's just tick, 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 tick throughout most of the movie, and it just builds that tension and makes it feel like time's running out because it is.
I need to watch that one.
It's solid. It's not very long for a war film. I think it's one of
Is
the
that the
shortest.
is that the Andrew Garfield one, or is that Hacksaw Ridge I'm thinking about?
That's Hacksaw Ridge that you're thinking about. This one has Harry Styles.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. Apparently, Christopher Nolan didn't know who he was when he cast him, which is funny. But
Oh,
Styles
that's
is not
funny.
the main actor of this film.
Okay.
Let me see.
I think
Done.
the last war film that I actually watched was Fury, which was years ago.
Dang.
Well, I guess Edge of Tomorrow counts.
I'm not even going to pronounce this guy's name. But Dunkirk, the letterbox is linked in the description if you want to check it out for our listeners. And Chase, you can search for it yourself.
Doing it right now.
um, I think we're getting close to the end of our episode here. I think you have to leave soon, don't you?
Around, yeah, a
Yeah.
little bit, yeah.
We can begin wrapping up. Is there anything else you wanted to say about True Grit specifically? I just enjoyed the film. I thought it was a lot of fun. Um, I think I'm gonna try to get a little more into westerns, and I give it 4 stars. So
Um, Overall, I would say westerns in general is just a niche like genre. If you don't like westerns, this movie's not gonna change your mind. I don't really think there is one out there that will change your mind. I could be wrong. I mean, I don't know, but
mm,
if you're looking for something as like a fun watch with a little bit of action, or more a lot of bit of action, some gore, and some really good characters, this is a good movie.
yeah, it's great. That's like the
So
most I have to say about it. It's great.
honestly, like the movie kind of just speaks for itself.
hmm
It does a really good job of just, and yes, it is an hour and 50 minutes long, which sounds like a lot of time, but really, like by the time stuff is happening, you're already like there. Like the movie's almost over by the time you're feeling, oh, this movie's gone on too long. Yeah, you only have like 5 minutes.
Yeah, compared to your average film these days, your average blockbuster, it's nothing. Um, and the pacing is really good. I mean, the first time I checked the time, I think was an hour into the film, which is like
Yeah,
halfway.
I was about halfway too. Whenever I was like, oh, how long have I been watching this? Just
Yeah,
because it didn't even feel halfway either. That was the crazy part.
yeah. It just I was like, oh dang, like we got really far into this movie. Um, and a lot happened, but not a lot happens. But you spent time with these characters, and you know them, and you know their goals really, really well.
Yeah, I would say this is just an easy watch. Personally, like if you're looking for a good movie to watch on a Friday or Saturday night, and you just want to have that good man flick feeling for a movie, this is one of them.
Yeah. It is PG-13 though, so you can go into that with, you know, whatever precautions you want to have. Um,
Yeah.
but it was good.
Yeah.
And like, if you can't do violence, this film's not that violent, but I would personally consider it kind of mild-ish.
There are bits and pieces, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you do see guys' fingers cut off sitting on the table. Maybe it's
Yeah.
more than
I mean,
mild, but
take take it with the movie. Like, it's a western named True Grit. Like, that kind of explains most of what you should expect in this film.
oh yeah, um, yeah. So I want to eventually get around to watching the 1969 version of True Grit. That would
Yeah,
be.
we can do that later on. I'd be down to watch that again.
I'm looking forward to that. Maybe I'll put it as one of mine next, but I already have my next two films picked out, so that'll be later.
I would say four thumbs up for this movie out of five.
There you go. You have four thumbs.
Four. I mean, maybe. Who's asking?
Me.
Big toes are technically the thumbs of toes. So,
Oh, well then you said 4 out of 5. So do you
well,
have?
I don't have five, so I can
Oh,
only get four.
so it's 4 out of 4.
We're gonna say four thumbs up out of five. How about that?
Okay. Um, yeah. Let's before we head out. Let's do a random film recommendation. I have mine. Do you have one, Chase?
Just a random film.
Just any film you recommend people watching. It should be something you've seen already. But yeah,
You say yours. Let me think of mine for a second.
sure. So I watched mine last night, um, and I think it is great. The sound design is brilliant. The cinematography is brilliant. The story's like good. It didn't really catch my attention too much at first. I was just kind of watching it because I heard the sound design was good, but then I got invested. It is House of the Flying Daggers. Came out in 2004. It's a really good movie. It is a subtitled film, so if you don't like that, that's too bad. But I recommend watching this, even if it's just for the cinematography and the sound design. I was blown away by it, and I'm definitely going to be checking out the director's other stuff. I can't remember his name at the moment, but I recommend watching it. Um, it I bought it yesterday. It was like $8, I think. So as of recording this, it's on sale for $8, but I don't think it's streaming anywhere else. But check it out. Do you have yours?
I would honestly say my movie. So I like movies that were pre 2010. Like, that's kind of my
Hmm.
area. This one's called The Terminal. It's a Tom Hanks film.
Ooh.
It's directed by Steven Spielberg, but it's essentially about a guy who's stranded at an airport because like stuff happened at his home, like his home country, where he can't fly back. But the moment he steps out of uh, the JFK International Airport, he is technically doing something, I guess, extremely illegal. But he doesn't want to go back home because political issues have caused like turmoil, and so he just basically kind of figures out how to live his life inside of an airport.
I've seen clips from it. My parents liked watching that a lot when I was younger. So I haven't officially seen it, so I might check that out.
Yeah, it's pretty interesting. I mean, I like Tom Hanks.
Yeah.
Um, it's not. I wouldn't say it's his strongest movie. It's probably about average, but I enjoyed it. It's a lot of people could hate it, but I liked it. So,
All right. Lastly, let's go over next week's movie, shall we?
oh yes, I don't even know what next week's movie is.
So Sean's obviously not here today, so but this next film was his pick, is his pick. It is Columbus from 2017. Directed by Kogonada. Kogonada. I suck at names. I think I'm gonna have to assign someone else to read names.
Or just like Google it and then say it how Google pronounces it.
No.
Was this a romance?
I'm about to read the synopsis now because I don't remember. All right, Columbus from 2017, directed by Kogo Nada. The synopsis is when a renowned architecture scholar falls deeply ill during a speaking tour, his son Jin finds himself, I thought it said herself. His son Jin finds himself stranded in Columbus, Indiana, a small Midwestern city celebrated by its many significant modernist buildings. Jin strikes up a friendship with Casey, a young architecture enthusiast who works at the local library. So it doesn't say whether or not it's about love, but I mean, you would assume based on this description.
Yeah.
The film is 104 minutes, and as of recording this, you can buy it for $13 on most services, and it is streaming on Canopy, which I recently learned about. Basically, it's a streaming service where you can connect your local library card and watch a large library of films. It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
So,
well, I'm gonna have to head out. So.
all right. Bye, Chase.
Bye. Bye, everybody. Thank you.
So yeah. Thank you for listening to this week's episode. You can follow us on Instagram at watchlist.podcast, where you can see the films that are the episodes that we're about to release, and we'll release also small clips of each episode each week, so you can get a little sample of it. We're also available on Spotify and Apple Podcasts and most RSS readers. So thank you for listening. Watch Columbus with us so that way you can listen next week and know what we're talking about and not have to listen to spoilers. But yeah, thanks for listening. Bye.
You must pay for everything in this world one way and another. There is nothing free except the grace of God.